Nsem-Pii TV nie.
Yamesrew enkwemu ko babia gina haya na Honorable Kennedy okopre ko Japan sabi empebia sanwa Fred dance atimu aboka pa na amanfo bi ensema ya na omo kan se MPP for abato a wokwakoto no coming General 2026 no emu beye den pa na Global Info Analytics eye owura Musah Dankwa ese abato no enya ade da se emu beyire na Dr Bawumia afa abano hands down enti Kennedy okompre ko Japan atitafo no wo mu ehwige na ade ne de babia waye ne survey afabia no eko ede ama Dr Bawumia empo NDC amayekuo emnantia na se NDC amayekuo emase se Dr Bawumia esan ba bi mu paadia de omuhu de na obetimu ato aba ede ama mabusua ye mo akọ na Musah Dankwa kwan ya ofa so na sansem we no obubum na nkoye se Nsem-Pii TV ye bo yesirim na aka asem keke ede ato bi so nti abusua besrew yenko na wankasa kokotie Musah Dankwa abra na oche se abato a MPP akoto no Dr Bawumia woda wona na bebia angu bia no wono enelidi yenko tibimra ye ba Nsem-Pii TV ye ne tifo ebeto aso.
Okay. Let's go to the next. Who is MPP? Here we know that voters don't elect flag bearers, but delegates do. But the views of Ghanaian voters matter in who you elect. Okay. You could go for your own. The final decision will be made by who? The ordinary voters. Yeah. If they reject it, you are in trouble. So it is good to have a perception of what is happening around the country to see whether you want to go against the public or you want to be with the public. When we ask them, who would you prefer to lead MPP in 2028? Bawumia, 5-6%. Kennedy, 23%. Yao Idichum, 9%. Patrick Bawumia, he hasn't said anything yet, but he's on 4%. Brian Champon on 3%. The rest are on.
But how did his name pop up if he hasn't said anything?
We work with speculations and expectations. Sometimes we throw names that could be in there that may not be in to see whether the public will look elsewhere.
So you threw.
We decide who to put in the race. Okay. Based on our judgment and other work we've done underground. Okay. To give the people we believe should be on the short list. For now, MPP, this is what we have. Now, when that data is broken down into party affiliation, 70% of MPP voters said Bawumia. Okay. 17 said Kennedy. 7 Edichu, 1 Bawumia, 3 Achampon, and 2% others. When it comes to NDC, 50% of NDC people want Bawumia. Okay. 26% want Kennedy, 10% Edichu, 4%. Look at the floating voters. You see, it's much closer there. Yeah. 46 for Bawumia and 28 for Kennedy. It means that it's not as rosy in other blocks for Bawumia compared to his own base.
But he's still leading.
He's still leading.
Interesting.
Now, if you look at the numbers from last time, in April, DMB was 48%, Bawumia. He moves to what? 56%. Kennedy dropped from 25% to 23%, top of 2. Yao Idichum dropped from 12 to 9. Brian Champon, 4 to 3. Bawumia was in there, is now on 4. And others dropped to 9%. So the gainers in this survey were Bawumia and Bawumia.
Patrick Bawumia.
Now let's go to the let's say the next slide. I'll put that one. Next slide from the similar. The next one. MPP voters who went for Bawumia last time. 76% want him again. Okay. 14 want Kennedy. 6 Edichum, 1% Bawumia, and 2% Achampon. For those who didn't tell us the party, the person they voted for last time, 31% prefer Bawumia, and Kennedy 66%. 2% Edichum. Now, for those who did not vote, but they are MPP people, they didn't vote, 41% want Bawumia and 40% Kennedy. So here it is much closer and much tighter among MPP voters who did not vote.
Yeah.
Not delegates,
voters who did not vote.
Yeah, who did not vote. Yes. Yeah, so let's go to next. Then you have the age bracket of the various candidates and where they are drawing their support from. Across all age groups, Bawumia dominates.
It's interesting then.
Yes.
Because earlier we said the one who conquers the youth, or because the Ghanaian youth, the Ghanaian voter is useful.
Yeah. So you must be able to win. If you look at it here, he's doing very well among that age group. So if you want to compete strongly against him, other people in the population. So you must really have a message that resonates well with the youth who are going to vote and to decide.
But across all the age groups, Bawumia is doing
the problem is the demography of delegate does not reflect the population of the country. That's the problem MPP has.
Okay.
So you must align the delegate numbers and see whether it kind of mirrors the general population. From what we have done, it doesn't.
But they also have 18, 24, 25, 34.
Among delegates of political parties, this number is very, very small.
Small, okay.
Very, very small. But people who are delegates are normally within this 35 and this 44.
Okay.
So the parties must begin to reflect what the population of the country is. Otherwise, they will be in trouble.
Okay.
But you go and allow old men to elect, some age group to elect somebody for you, and that person may be rejected by the younger people. So you have to be very careful.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Right. I think let's go to the let's end this one. Bawumia needs 54% among junior high, senior high 60%. Among tertiary, look, it is down 51%. That number needs to be higher because you need to be able to win more of the people with the very highest level of education. His number there is declining, and even among MPP voters, those who have tertiary education is coming down.
But can you say it's declining? You would have to compare this to what it was, maybe say in April, before you can do that comparison. Not so.
We've seen that, but we've seen that.
Okay.
And even generally, if you look at the party affiliation, NDC, how many have junior high, how many have senior high, compare that like data, we are seeing a decline in people who are at least tertiary graduates who support MPP. Yeah, let's go to next. The survey down into various modes. In the telephone poll, Bawumia led almost 57%. Face-to-face, 59%. Online, 23%. In the online, Patrick Bawumia led the online 27%. So he's more popular in the social media angles. Patrick Bawumia. Yes, Bawumia is in a very, very good lead at the moment. He's hovering around 56% of popular support among all voters.
Okay. Among all voters, irrespective of whether they are NPP or non-NPP.
Absolutely.
Ghanaian voters.
But then when you disaggregate this into party affiliation, he's much stronger in MPP than nationally.
Okay.
He's around 70% among people who say they are MPP, which is very good for him because it means that as we speak currently, if they are to have a vote to elect somebody, the delegates are more likely to align with the views of their party followers.
Okay. And the 56 in the country also means something, right?
Yes, it means something. Either depending on how you look at it, because it includes also people who are NDC. Now, about half of NDC voters prefer him to lead MPP. So if I was a political strategist, I would discount the views of NDC people.
Okay.
They could be mischievous in the way they are thinking. I would rather focus on the MPP voters and also the floating voters. They will give you an independent view of what they think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you take away the NDC voters,
then the number will come down below probably around 50%.
Around 50%?
Yes.
50% will win him an election then?
Yeah, but remember those who vote are delegates. So that number could be different depending upon how things pans out going forward.
But what is accounting for his strong lead in the MPP? What do they say?
I think it's name recognition. Name recognition. He's well recognized as a former vice for 8 years. Also the candidate for the MPP in the last election. And there has been general argument that because he's well marketed, it will be easier for him to be represented again, because then you don't have to struggle to market him. There are pluses and minuses of that argument, but we won't come to that point right now. I think that is largely leading to his kind of upper hand in the race at the moment.
But Kennedy Japan has also been around for some time. He was in the race last time. So could it just be the name that is helping Bawumia or something else?
I think the name is part, and also, you know, every tradition has some certain beliefs. And if you look at what MPP has gone through in the past historically from Kufuor, they have had to be given 2 chances, or in some cases 3 chances. I think that kind of thinking is helping to build the case for Bawumia. And at the moment, I haven't seen any of the rivals dismantling that case yet. And I think dismantling that case, I think it's going to ride on that and probably run over it.
But from your experience, it can change, can't it?
Yes, it can change, depending on what happens in the NEC decision to do the elections top down rather than bottom up.
Okay.
What we have seen in the data is that there are a very good crop of MPP voters who don't want Bawumia to go.
Okay.
If you look at MPP voters who did not vote in the last election, 41% support Bawumia and 40% support Kennedy. So from that block, you could see the opposition to Bawumia in that block. But among those who, in the last election, voted for Bawumia, almost 74% are still voting for him. So if they open the primaries up to include more people, then these anti-systems will find their way into the register.
Okay.
And that could shake the race going forward. But if they succeed in maintaining the current album, I think Bawumia will be home and dry.
But once the MPP has been a party that gives more than 1 chance to its presidential candidate, it favors Bawumia, right?
Yes.
That favors him.
It favors him. And also there's another argument that I haven't heard people make, but from data we've seen that I think they are fearful of not giving him a second chance.
Okay.
For a reason that the northern region could be a problem for them if they don't do that.
Okay.
When I say northern, I mean the entire northern bloc.
Yeah.
Because they may argue that why didn't you give him a second chance while you've given the other candidate a second chance? And the consequences of that could be much more disastrous for MPP than allowing him to go again.
Okay. Interesting. Then there will be an interesting race.
Very interesting. Early days yet, but I think in the next 90 days, we will be shifting the focus from general voters. We will do it alongside, but we'll begin to dig into the MPP insightful to see.
Interesting. Okay. Is it time for us to go to the smart wall?
Yeah.
Let's go to the smart wall and see and make people understand how all this plays out. So, Musah Dankwa will be on the first.
I don't know whether who's controlling me.
So yeah, we'll do it for you.
Okay.
Don't worry. So what it means is that this poll started on the 1st of July.
But the report came on the.
You released the report.
But it was not between period of May to June.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think we can skip this summary and
the summary.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, let's go to the presidential. Or you want us to go through everything? Or?
Okay. Let's go. So this is an age bracket.
Yeah,
does it really say something?
It tells you that the country is young people. Look at it.
Yeah. It's a youthful
population.
Yeah.
44%. I mean, 30, 70, 69, almost 80% of the people, voters, are below 44 years of age.
Yeah.
This would have implication on who becomes the president.
Oh, okay. So you have to appeal to the youth.
Absolutely.
Youthful population.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's move ahead.
Interesting.
Next.
Could that be the reason why?
Next.
Could that be the reason why Brian Achampon, in one of his videos, was speaking pidgin?
Absolutely. But as whether his youth speak pidgin is another matter, because most Ghanaian voters and at least have junior high qualification.
Yeah.
So about maybe 90% have junior high, senior high, and tertiary. So those people who are left with that skills in English language is very small. So you have to also be very careful as to how you target them.
No, but the youth love to speak pidgin, right?
It has to be a different style of pidgin.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of pidgin he was speaking.
Okay.
I'd love to see that.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
But doesn't the denomination matter? Doesn't it say anything?
It does matter in a way. If you look at the Pentecostal and then the Charismatic Church group, they are almost like 32, normally to 40% of the Christian population.
Yeah, 32%.
So if you have an issue with this category of Christians, you are in trouble. They are the ones that really give problems for people. They are more of evangelical in nature. And the religion for them is quite important sometimes.
Okay.
They are the ones who give problems for people who have religious issues.
Okay.
But the Anglican, the Catholics, the Methodists, and the Presbyterians, they are more liberal.
But they are the majority, right?
Absolutely.
Anglican is 6%, Presbyterian is 16. That will give you 22. If Methodist is 37, that is Methodist is 17, so that is 39. They add it to Canada, that's 59.
And you have to also dissect to see where the youth, which of the Catholic the groups are the youth
are youthful
belonging to.
Okay.
Normally the Catholics, the Methodists,
okay.
So you have to be very careful.
I get it.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go. Now the ethnic groups, the accounts are the majority, around 46-45%.
Okay.
Everywhere 12%, Mount Dagbani 11%, the Ghana Dangbe 9%, others 9%. You can see the rest of the breakdown.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Next. Then party affiliation. This is where it gets tricky for the political parties. You know, before the last election, around October, the last poll we did, people who openly declared that they are MPP voters were 37%.
Okay.
Fast forward till April, that number declined to 32%.
Okay.
And NDC was 33% before the elections. They went to 42% in April.
And they are now
44%.
Okay.
MPP has declined to 30%.
Okay.
The floating voters remain 15%, and then those who don't tell you their party affiliation, which is worrying because we have seen their behavior similar to that of NDC voters.
Okay.
And now we have the other parties remaining at 3%. So you can see that MPP.
So the one in blue is for the research that was done in April. And the green is in June.
So you can see NDC is up, MPP is down.
Down. Okay. Wow. Right. So
yes, I mean people have found reasons to leave MPP. And sometimes people tend to say that, oh, look, political parties are not ethnic groups. People join and they leave. If they find you a bit repulsive, unattractive, they will leave. So they must watch these numbers carefully. They must be able to bring the numbers up to a position where they will be competitive. If this number stays like this, it will change though. But we are tracking this over what we call the 90-day moving average cycle.
But this is also within a certain sample size, right?
But it doesn't. We run this over a 90-day cycle, average it as we go along, and over 6 months you'll see that it will stabilize at a certain point, and that's the point where they should be worried.
Okay.
But it should still be a concern for them.
Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah. Let's do the next one and see.
Right now, the direction of the country.
Okay.
Disagreement as to those who didn't vote in the election. 2 million people now don't vote. The 2 million that they said they didn't vote. Those who did not vote in the last election, the 2 million, whatever that number is, were they all MPP voters? That they didn't show up? That if they had stand up, MPP would have won? The poll shows that only 48% of those who didn't show up to vote in the last election were MPP voters.
Okay.
19% were NDC people. They didn't show up. But these people in the last election voted for the NADO. And then
this 19% of who voted for the NADO.
Yeah, in the last 2020 elections.
But they didn't vote.
They didn't come. So whatever number that we're talking about for the NADO, it included NDC people as well.
But I've spoken to people who say, I'm NDC, but I voted for the NADO in 2020.
Yes.
I mean, so this person is not part of those who didn't vote.
They are counting that as, because NADO got 2 million more votes than Bawumia.
Yes.
So they are counting the 2 million as MPP people.
Okay.
And they are not just MPP people, they are also what? NDC people.
Okay.
Floating voters and
27.
Others. But so majority of people who didn't vote actually were not MPP people.
Okay.
But if you add 19, 27, and 7, that's 52%. Then let's go to next. Yeah, and those who didn't vote, we asked them, if you were to be given a chance today to go and vote, who would you vote for? Those who didn't vote in the last election, this is what they're telling us.
Okay.
Mahama 66%, Bawumia 24%, others 10%.
Okay.
So things has not improved for MPP.
Okay.
No. Now the leadership race.
Okay.